Krishna Govinda Govinda Gopal Nandalal Govinda Govinda Gopal Nandalal Krishna Govinda Govinda Gopal Nandalal Govinda Govinda Gopal Nandalal. Hey Gopal Nandalal, 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 Hey Gopal Nandalal. Krishna Govinda Govinda Gopal Nandalal Govinda Govinda Hey Gopal Nandalal Krishna Govinda Govinda Gopal Nandalal Govinda Govinda Hey Gopal Nandalal Hey Gopal Nandalal, 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 Hey Gopal Nandalal. Shri Shri Radha Govindadev ki jai. Sri Krishna Kanhaiya Lal ki jai. Sri Janmastami Mahamahotsav ki jai. Sri Virtual Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Good to be with all of you right now as we either prepare for or get ready to go into or are already into Janmashtami. I'm wishing you all the happiest Janmashtami. I'm hoping that this is a blessed and festive time for everyone. I'm looking forward to reading with all of you. We will be reading from Garga Samhita, and we will be reading about the advent of our Lord Sri Krishna Chandra. So it's so exciting. I'm glad we can be together. And just so that we enter our virtual Vrindavan with the right mood, as always, we are going to start with Jai Radha Madhava. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jannavalabha Girivaradhari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jannavalabha Girivaradhari Jashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tiravana Chari Jashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tiravana Chari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jannavalabha Girivaradhari Jai Radha Madhava Jai Radha Madhava Radhe Govinda Jaya Radhe Govinda Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. Shri Radha Madhava ki jai, Shri Radha Govindadev ki jai, Shri Krishna Janmastami Mahotsav ki jai. So, it's very exciting for all of us. It is one of the biggest holidays that we could ever have. I'm so glad that I get to spend it with all of you, as I've said before. I can't wait to be able to read with you. We have, it seems like, such a large group of esteemed guests. Thank you for being here, each and every one of you. Thank you for being so excited to share in our online virtual celebration. And for just the next hour, we are going to read about the wonderful pastime of the description of Sri Krishna Chandra's appearance. And we'll be reading from Garga Samhita, which we had been reading from for days and days. And there are so many fun details nestled within this Garga Samhita. And we'll talk more and more and more about all of these details as we go along. So, the only thing left to ask is, are you ready? I am already ready. I feel like I can't be more ready. So this begins with a conversation between Narada Muni and King Bahulashva, who is the king of Mithila. And it begins. Sri Narada said, Sri Krishna, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than the greatest, personally entered Vasudev's heart. The great soul Vasudev shone with a glory like the sun, moon, or fire. Imagine what an effulgence like that must have looked like. He appeared to be non-different from the Supreme Lord, the master of all sacrifices. When Lord Krishna, who awards fearlessness to everyone, entered Devaki's heart, she shone as if a great flash of lightning had entered her home. Seeing her so effulgent, Kamsa became frightened. He said, now the destroyer of my life has appeared. She was not like this before. As soon as he is born, I will kill him. Saying this, looking in all directions and thinking of his former enemy, Lord Hari, Kamsa became filled with fear. Even by being envious of him, one may be able to see Lord Krishna. It is for this reason, to attain the association of Lord Krishna, that the demons hate him. Then the demigods, headed by Brahma, and the great sages headed by me, this is Narada speaking, went to Vasudev's home, bowed down before Lord Krishna, and offered many prayers. The demigods prayed. Taking shelter of the modes of nature, philosophers wonder, is the Supreme the origin of consciousness and other states of being? Or is he not their origin? As sparks come from a fire, but do not again enter it, so the Mahatattva, senses, and demigods come from the Lord, but do not enter back into him. Our obeisance is to him, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The strongest of the strong cannot conquer him. The potency of illusion cannot conquer him. The Vedas cannot bring him within their realm of perception. Of him, the perfect, complete, eternal, peaceful, and pure Supreme Personality of Godhead, we take shelter. With his partial avatars and the portions of his partial avatars, Kala avatars, Avesha avatar, Purna avatar, and many other avatars. He creates, maintains, and destroys the material universes. Unto him, Lord Sri Krishna, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than the Purna Avatar, we offer our respectful obeisances. In Manvantaras, Yugas, and Kalpas, past and future, you manifest your form in partial incarnations, but now you manifest your original and most perfect form. Establishing real religion, you bring auspiciousness to the entire earth. O blissful Lord, we place within our hearts the nectar pollen, gently blowing from your lotus feet as you walk, which is not attained by even the purest yogis, unless their pure hearts melt with love for you. This is our prayer, that no matter what knowledge we gain, no matter what devotion we have, our ultimate goal is that our hearts will melt with love for our Sri Krishna. In our hearts we place wonderful you, whose handsome form is more charming than 100 million Kamadevs, who are the glory of the realm of Goloka, who are the master of Radha, and you are the wealth of the earth. Sri Narada said, bowing down to Lord Hari and singing his praises, the demigods headed by Brahma went with the sages to their respective abodes. O King Bahulashva, at that time, at the time of Lord Hari's appearance, the sky and the 10 directions became very pure. The stars were very bright, the earth appeared happy, and the rivers, streams, oceans, and lakes were filled with pure water. The breezes spread the fragrant pollen of 1,000-petaled, 100-leaf lotuses that were seen blooming everywhere. Bees hummed, colorful birds sang, and fragrant, cooling breezes gently blew. The kingdoms appeared most opulent. The towns and villages were auspicious, and the demigods, brahmanas, trees, and cows were very happy. The demigods beat their drums as if to announce victory. Everywhere there was great auspiciousness. The Vidyadharas, Gandharvas, Siddhas, Kinnaras, and Charanas sang, and the thief and the chief of demigods offered prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Gandharvas and Vidyadharas happily danced in heaven. The demigods threw many parijata, mandara, malati, and sumana flowers, and the clouds thundered and sprinkled water. Then, in the month of Bhadra, August-September, during the 8th Tithi of the dark fortnight, when Mercury, Taurus, and the star Rohini were on the horizon, and the planets were in the Harshana Yoga, in the middle of the night, when everything was covered with darkness, and the moon was rising, in Vasudev's palace, Lord Hari appeared from Devaki, as in a yagya fire appears from the Arani wood. Vasudev gazed at his son, who wore a colorful jeweled necklace, a glittering Kaustuba gem, splendid armlets and anklets, earrings, and a helmet like the rising sun, bracelets like wonderful flickering flames, a belt splendid as lightning, a lotus garland filled with the buzzing of bees, and splendid golden garments, and who was splendid as a dark cloud with lightning. His face was moving, and black locks of hair, his splendor, removing the darkness, bringing in auspiciousness. He was handsome. His eyes were like lotus flowers decorated with wonderful and colorful pictures and designs, more charming than 10 million cupids. He was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, greater than all the greatest, and fond of sweetly playing the flute. Vasudev, the best of the Yadavas, his eyes blossomed wide with the festive joy of seeing the birth of Lord Hari. In his heart, he at once gave 1,000,000 cows in charity to the Brahmanas. Standing before the Lord in the maternity room, astonished Vasudev bowed down, now fearless, with folded hands. He glorified the Lord with many, many prayers. This is our mood. We may not be able to go anywhere. We may not be able to have external celebrations, but in our minds and in our hearts, we can give so much charity. We can give so much wealth. We can cook feasts upon feasts upon feasts for our dearest Krishna, even if we don't have the facility to do it externally. Internally, our Govinda, our sweet Gopal, will accept everything as long as we offer it with all the love in our hearts. So just as Vasudev was able to give away so many cows in charity, we can do the same. We can have a grand celebration. We can decorate with millions of flowers and flower petals and rangoli. And we can do so many wonderful things. We can plan dances and dramas, even if we can't do them on the outside. We can have a festival of the mind, a festival within the temple of our heart. Vasudev prayed, "Although you are one, the modes of material nature make you appear to be many. You are the creator, maintainer, and destroyer of the worlds. As crystal is colorless, you are untouched by material qualities. O Master of the worlds, I bow down before you. You are inside like fire and fuel. You are outside like the sky. You are the maintainer like the earth. You see everything. You are present everywhere like the air. My obeisances unto you. You are the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, the protector of the cows, demigods, Brahmins, and your own children, your own associates, who have appeared in my dynasty to remove the great armies that now burden the earth. O Master of the worlds, please protect me from sinful Kamsa." Sri Narada said, understanding handsome and dark Sri Krishna to be the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, Devaki, who was equal to the demigods, bowed before him and spoke. Sri Devaki said, "O Krishna, O Master of countless universes, O Supreme Lord, O flag of Golokadham, O original Lord, O Master of the perfect, O perfect one, O most perfect original Supreme Lord, O Supreme Controller, please protect me from Kamsa's atrocities." Sri Narada said, hearing this, Lord Krishna, the destroyer of sins, smiled and spoke to Devaki and Vasudev. The Supreme Lord said, "In the previous creation, she was chaste Prishni, who worshipped her husband as if he were a god, and you were Sutapa, who desired to create children. By Brahma's order, you both performed great austerities, fasting from food and drink. When in time the Manvantara had passed, your austerity to attain children continued. Then I became pleased with you and said, 'Ask for a benediction.' After hearing this, you both said, 'May we have a son like you.' I said, So be it, and left. Next, you became a Prajapati couple. Thinking no one is like me, I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, became your son, famous in the world as Sri Prishni Garbha. Then a second time, I again became your son as Indra's younger brother, Vamana. Now I, the Supreme Lord, greater than the greatest, have again become your son. Take me to Nanda's palace. Do not fear Kamsa. Take Nanda's daughter and you will become happy. Sri Narada said, after speaking, Lord Hari became invisible. And then, as an actor does, he reappeared as an infant on the floor. As Vasudeva was placing the infant in a cradle and was about to depart, goddess Yogamaya was born in Braj from Nanda's wife. So Janmastami is a story of twins. Sri Yogamaya, Durga herself, Sri Krishna's sister, was also born on this day. And for this reason, in Sri Jagannath Puri, they celebrate the birthday of Subhadra on the day of Janmashtami, along with Lord Jagannath. So it is the story of twins. So we can all wish them both a joyous and festive appearance day. Goddess Yogamaya put all the guards to sleep, unfastened the shackles and locks, and opened all the doors. When his head decorated with Sri Krishna, Vasudeva left, the darkness was at once lifted as if the sun had suddenly risen. As the clouds in the sky rained, thousand-headed Ananta Shesh, his great hoods giving protection from the torrents of rain, followed Vasudeva. We have seen this beautiful picture time and time again, with Vasudeva carrying Lord Sri Krishna on his head in a basket, and Ananta Shesh himself covering them from the torrents and torrents of rain, falling like great pillars from the sky. Filled with great waves and whirlpools, its shores filled with lions, snakes, and other wild creatures, the Jamuna, the best of rivers, gave a path to Vasudeva. Entering Nanda's Braj, he placed the sleeping infant on Yashoda's bed and glanced at Yogamaya. Srila Prabhupada says, as he's described this pastime many, many times, one time he says, as Vasudeva was making his way through the raging Jamuna river, he drops Sri Krishna. And he's looking all around frantically for the infant child. And on the waves of the Jamuna, suddenly Sri Krishna comes floating back. It is said that Jamuna Devi herself wanted to play with Krishna and hold him just for a little bit. And then she returns him to Vasudeva. So, Srila Prabhupada says that this is such a beautiful pastime within the Jamuna river, that she herself comes and she wants to have darshan of sweet little infant Krishna. She wants to touch his feet. She wants to hold him in her arms for just a moment. And then she returns him to Vasudeva. And yes, others are saying what a beautiful and wonderful way to describe it. Vasudeva has the ornament of Sri Krishna on his head. Picking up the infant Yogamaya, Vasudeva left the house, crossed the Jamuna again, entered his prison cell, and became as he had been before. Not knowing whether a son or daughter had been born, exhausted Yashoda slept in bed with a sleep of bliss. Hearing the sounds of an infant, the guards went to the royal palace and told the warrior, Kamsa. Overcome with fear, Kamsa rushed to the maternity room. weeping like the most wretched person, the chaste sister Devaki spoke to her brother Kamsa. Sri Devaki said, "Now that my sons are dead, please give me this one daughter. Oh, brother, it is not right for you to kill a girl. You are kind to those who are miserable. I am your younger sister. You have killed my sons and thrown me into a prison cell. O noble one, please just give this one beautiful daughter to me." Sri Narada said, bewildered, and her face covered with tears, Devaki tried to hold the child in her lap. The demon Kamsa rebuked her, however, and grabbed the child. Then the sinful demon Kamsa, the lowest of the Yadavas, his friends all demons, holding his sister's daughter by her feet, threw her against a stone slab. From Kamsa's hand, the girl flew into the sky and entered a splendid 100-petal lotus chariot pulled by 1,000 horses. He saw her standing on this splendid chariot with moving chamaras. Then goddess Yogamaya, served by many attendants, her glorious form splendid as 100 suns. Her 8 arms holding weapons, and her voice like thunder spoke to Kamsa. Sri Yogamaya said, "Lord Sri Krishna, the original Supreme Lord, is already born. Where is he born? He will kill you. You torture this poor girl in vain." Sri Narada said, after saying this, the goddess went to the Vindhya hills. There, goddess Yogamaya assumed many names like Durga and Bhadra. At this, Kamsa became astonished. Listening to his mother's words, he released Vasudeva and Devaki from their bonds. Kamsa said, "I am a sinner. I have performed many sins. I am a demon. I am the lowest of the Yadavas. Please forgive what I have done. I am such a killer of your sons. Please forgive me. Oh, sister, please hear me. Oh, Vasudev, I think that this was all done by time, which as the wind moves the clouds, moves that which cannot even be moved. I believed the words of the demigods. I now can understand that the demigods also lie. She said my enemy is already born on the earth. Where? I do not know." Sri Narada said, weeping, his face covered with tears, Kamsa fell at their feet. He rendered great service to them, and he showed them friendship. Oh, will the charitable glances of Sri Krishna Chandra, the Supreme Personality of God, had not come to the circle of the earth. Early the next morning, the demon Kamsa, however, called together the great demons headed by Pralambasura and told them what Yogamaya had said. Kamsa said, "Yogamaya said that the person who will cause my destruction is already born on the earth. Therefore, all of you, please kill all infants, whether they are younger or older than 10 days." The demon said, "When you ready your bow for a fight, the twang of its string makes the demigods flee. Why do you fear them? The cows, Brahmins, devotees, Vedas, demigods, and others, headed by the principles of religion, are the limbs of Lord Vishnu. When they are destroyed, the power of the demons will be remembered. If your enemy, Lord Mahavishnu, has indeed appeared on this earth, then the way to kill him is to attack the cows and all these others." Sri Narada said, "Sent by Kamsa, these powerful and sinful demons flew in the sky. They killed many newborn infants, as well as many cows and other pious beings. From sea to sea, traveling over the earth and entering house after house, these demons, who could assume any form they wished, moved about, like so many snakes. The great demons sent by Kamsa were far from the path of religion. They were like monkeys or drunkards destroyed by drink, or men possessed by ghosts. O King of Videha, O King of Mithila, O Lord of men, O devotee of Lord Upendra, O first among the pious, O austere one, O King Bahulashva, the demons broke apart the four goals of auspicious life, and in this way the demons harassed the devotees on earth. The next chapter is the description of Sri Nanda's festival. Sri Narada said, hearing the happy news of his son's birth, Nanda called the Brahmins at dawn and had them perform the auspicious ceremonies. When the traditional birth ceremony was performed, noble-hearted King Nanda happily gave the Brahmins 100,000 cows as dakshina. With bowed head, he gave to the Brahmins many hills of 7 grains, having peaks of jewels and gold. So we see that Nanda Maharaj was extremely wealthy. Sometimes we think of Vrindavan as a village, a simple village with straw huts and mud and cow dung paddies, but they have jewels everywhere. The jewels are even within the Chintamani dust of Vrindavan. So even within the soil, there are precious gems and precious stones. This is a village unlike we have ever seen. Mridangas, veenas, shankas, dundubis, and other instruments sounded again and again. Singers sang, and at the entrance there was dancing. Decorated with beautiful and wonderfully colored flags, awnings, gateways, and golden pots, Sri Nanda's palace appeared glorious. The highways, footpaths, entrances, walls, courtyards, platforms, gazebos, and assembly halls glistened with drops of fragrant water. The cows were decorated with red cloths, and their horns were covered with gold. Imagine how much wealth you must have to cover your cow's horns with gold. And how many cows Nanda Maharaj had? We hear already that he gave away 100,000 cows. That's not even counting the ones he kept. And he covered their horns with gold. Their necks glistened with golden necklaces. And they tinkled with many bells and ornaments. Their tails were yellow. Their calves were by their sides. They were decorated with tarunikaras. They were anointed with turmeric and kumkum. And they were decorated with designs and pictures drawn with colored minerals. Decorated with peacock feathers and sprinkled with scented water, many bulls bearing the principles of religion shone gloriously at Sri Nanda's door. Opulent with golden necklaces, splendid with strands of pearls, and their hooves decorated with tinkling ornaments, white calves jumped here and there. Just imagine such a beautiful scene. The calves are jumping sweetly, and everyone has seen when a cow prances, it makes you just feel happy and festive. Hearing of the festival celebrating a son's birth, King Vrishabhanu and Kalavati came to Nanda's palace riding on an elephant. The 9 Nandas and Upanandas and the 6 Vrishabhanus all came, bearing many gifts. Their turbans appearing very opulent with flower garlands, and their hair tied with gunja and peacock feathers. They were decorated with forest garlands and were most handsome with yellow garments. Carrying flutes, sticks in hand, and decorated with peacock feathers and tilak, many cowherd men came. Dancing, singing, and shaking their garments, many bearded men, accompanied by their sons, brought many varieties of gifts, sticks in hand and bringing many offerings of butter, ghee, milk, and yogurt. Many elderly cowherd men came to Nanda's palace. Overcome with love and their eyes filled with tears of bliss, they talked about the birth festival of the king of Braja's son. And it brings to mind many songs like Govinda Gokula Ayo. Govinda has come to Gokula, finally. Everyone is just waiting for Govinda. And now he has finally appeared. His eyes filled with tears of bliss, Nanda worshipped everyone with tilak and other gifts during the festival celebrating his son's birth. The cowherd men said, "O king of Braj, O Nanda, for a childless man who desires a son, what can be more auspicious than this festival celebrating a son's birth?" It is said that Nanda and Yashoda were wishing for a son for so long. They were even advanced in years. And finally, Sri Krishna appeared to them just like a miracle in their lives. After many days, destiny has shown this day to us. As we gaze at Nanda's son, our lives attain success. When placing him on your lap, you fondle him and say, "Oh, my charming one, we will be happy." Sri Nanda said, "Your pious blessings make me very happy. O cowherd men, I am a servant who is obedient to the orders of the cowherd men of Braj." We spoke about the humility of Sri Nanda Maharaj yesterday. He is the king of the cowherd men, and yet he considers himself an obedient servant to others. I yearn and aspire to have just one drop of this humility, yearning to just see myself as the servant of those servants, of my dearest Govinda and my dearest Guru Maharaj. If I can just somehow bring a little bit of joy to their hearts, my life will be fulfilled. Sri Nanda said, hearing about the wonderful birth of King Nanda's son, Sri Narada said, hearing about the wonderful birth of King Nanda's son, the gopis immediately abandoned their household duties. Their hearts, minds, and limbs flooded with rising happiness, and they rushed with gifts to the palace of Braja's king. So even as a baby, Krishna was stealing hearts and making everyone stop everything else that they might have been doing just to run and see him. We see that this is a theme in the rest of Sri Krishna's life. Wherever he goes, whatever he does, everyone stops everything that they're doing just to gaze at him, just to be there, to see him smile, to see his beautiful lotus-like eyes, to see his gorgeous threefold bending form. O king, running from their homes to Nanda's palace, their garments, ornaments, and hair becoming loose as they went, and dropping pearls on the ground, the gopis all appeared splendidly beautiful, decorated with tinkling anklets, armlets, gold chiras, ankle bells, necklaces, jeweled earrings, sashes, kanta sutras, bracelets, and bindukas. They shone with the glory of a host of full moons. So they decorated themselves very nicely. We can all keep that in mind when we think of having a festival at home. Whether we are at home or outside, let us decorate ourselves as much as we can, to the best of our abilities, just knowing that we are running just to see Govinda. With gentle strokes, the gopis anointed the child's face with a paste of wheat and barley flours, black mustard and salt. They all gave many, many blessings. O king, they sang, and then they spoke to Yashoda. The gopis said, "O Yashoda, well done, well done. O queen of Braj, Your fortune is very great. Your fortune is very great. Your noble womb which gave birth to such a son is very fortunate indeed. After a long time the Lord fulfilled your desire. O Lord, please protect this lotus-eyed, sweetly smiling, handsome dark boy. Sri Yashoda said, Your kind blessings bring me great happiness. May you also always be fortunate. O very intelligent Rohini, please worship the noble people of Braj who have come here. Please fulfill their desires. Sri Narada said, Even though she was a princess, when asked in this way, noble-hearted Rohini gave charity with 2 generous hands. Then fair-complexioned, splendidly dressed and decorated Rohini worshipped the people of Braj. When Sri Krishna, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, then appeared in Braj, the many turyas sounded, and a great cry of victory arose. Then the happy Gopas and Gopis sprinkled each other with fresh butter and loudly sang. When a large elderly Gopa fell in a pool of yogurt and mud that was everywhere, inside and outside the homes, others laughed. Then many intelligent and pure Suttas, Pauranikas, Magadas, Vamsha Shanshakas, and Vandis recited many prayers. To each one, Nanda Maharaj gave 1,000 cows and many garments, ornaments, jewels, horses, and elephants. King Nanda, the wealthy Gopa ruler of Braj, also showered great wealth on the Vandis, Magadas, and everyone else. Wealth, mystic powers, glory, sense gratification, and liberation rolled about on the ground in every home and on every pathway. No one had any desires left to be fulfilled. Now, why is this? Why is it that wealth, mystic powers, glory, sense gratification, and even liberation rolled about on the ground of Vrindavan? Krishna had appeared, and these inhabitants of Braj had such pure, unmotivated, uninterrupted, undeviated love for him that they say because of this devotional service, all of these things come as a byproduct. So sometimes we wonder, why should I worship this Krishna? This Krishna takes everything away. What will I have left if I worship this Krishna? I'll be poor. But no. Our Vaishnav Acharyas, our teachers, our spiritual mentors, they all promise us that once we give everything and our very hearts and souls to Krishna, even though it looks like we may have lost, we should understand that wealth, mystic powers, glory, sense gratification, and even liberation roll about on the ground in every home and in every pathway where devotion to Sri Krishna dwells. This is the gift and the benediction of devotion and bhakti yoga. So we should not think that we will become losers if we give ourselves up to the worship of Krishna. We should know that Krishna promises himself that he will grant us every desire. We just have to stay true to that devotion. Stay true to that bhakti, no matter what it looks like on the outside, knowing that our miracles are coming because our Lord has already promised. Then, accompanied by me, this is Narada again speaking, and by the great sages headed by Sanat Kumar, Kapila Dev, Shukadev, Vyasa, Hamsa, Datta, and Pulastya, the demigod Brahma arrived. Wearing a crown and earrings, his complexion the color of gold, and filling the directions with light, four-faced Brahma, the author of the Vedas, arrived, riding on his swan carrier. Accompanied by many ghosts and demons, Lord Shiva also came riding on a bull. I can only imagine what this must have looked like. I can also imagine why so many of the demigods desire to remain invisible, because we heard so many days ago what happened when Lord Shiva himself came to visit Vrindavan to ask Mother Yashoda, "May I see your child?" Her answer was absolutely not. "You may not, sir." He had snakes and scorpions, and he was followed by a host of ghosts and demons. She did not want to let her child out of her sight with this strange-looking mendicant. He cried for so long just to finally get the darshan of Sri Krishna as a baby. And then he held Sri Krishna on his lap, and he stays forever within the precinct of Vrindavan as Asheshwar Mahadev, the one whose desires are fulfilled, and the one who fulfills all desires, especially those who desire bhakti. Lord Shiva is very keen and very excited to fulfill those desires and grant those boons to those who ask. Can you please give me bhakti? Can you help me with devotion to your own worshipful Lord? You love Sri Krishna more than anyone else. You are considered the best friend of Lord Krishna, even the brother-in-law. Can you help me develop love for him? Lord Shiva is eager to grant those boons. And with those boons come everything else that we could ever imagine or wish for. So when we see Lord Shiva, we should make sure to bow our heads in great gratitude and ask him, "Oh Lord Shiva, greatest of the greatest Vaishnavas, can you give me devotion? I am a beggar at the feet of the Vaishnavas. The only thing I have as my wealth are your blessings. Please grant me devotional, loving service to our Krishna, our most beautiful, handsome Lord." So, accompanied by many ghosts and demons, Lord Shiva also came riding on a bull. The sun god came riding on a chariot, and Indra came riding on an elephant. Vayu came riding on a Kanjana bird. Yamaraj came riding on a buffalo. Kuvera came riding on a flower chariot, and the moon god came riding on a deer. Agni came riding on a ram. Varuna rode on a shark, and Kartikeya rode on his peacock, while Saraswati came riding on her swan. Lakshmi came riding on Garuda, and Durga came riding on a lion. Manifesting the form of a cow, the earth goddess Bhumi came riding in an airplane. The 16 Matrikas came riding on a swing, and goddess Shashti, holding a sword and club, came riding on a palanquin. Basically, everyone in all of creation is coming just to see Sri Krishna. The ruler of the planet Mars came riding on a gorilla. The ruler of the planet Mercury came riding on a rooster. The ruler of the planet Jupiter came riding on a black stag. The ruler of the planet Venus came riding on an ox, and the ruler of Saturn came riding on a shark. The ruler of Rahu came riding on a camel. Splendid as millions of suns, they all came to Nanda's palace. Finally arriving at Nanda's palace, which was filled with many gopas and gopis, making a great tumultuous sound, the demigods paused for a moment and then entered. After offering obeisances to him and gazing at him, the demigods offered many eloquent prayers to Sri Krishna, who, although manifesting the form of a child, was the original, supreme personality of Godhead. After gazing at Lord Krishna, Brahma and the demigods and sages, now very happy and overwhelmed with feelings of love, returned to their own abodes. It is said that on Sri Krishna's hands and feet are the mystic impressions and the signs of a conch and chakra, elephant goat, and a lotus. So many mystical symbols are on his hands and feet. But in Vrindavan, Krishna desires to hide his mystic potencies. He wants to be the son of the cowherd Gopas and Gopis. He just wants to be their darling Nandulal. And so it says, as Sri Krishna laid on his back and closed his eyes, in order to hide these mystical potencies and these mystical signs, he closed his fists so that no one would see them. And he closed his eyes just like a regular baby. How captivating is this form of our dearest, dearest Krishna. And how rare is this form. How often do we get to see God as a baby? Completely lost in these human-like pastimes. Completely lost in the love of his devotees, that he does not wish to exhibit his potency and power as God anymore. He just wants them to affectionately call him Lala and cradle him on their laps. He wishes to roll in the dust and have them wipe off his body with their veils. He wishes to smile charmingly at them, even while he steals from them. He wishes to make them look as though they are lying, even when they are telling on him to his mother. Maya, I didn't steal anything. I don't know what they're saying. Why would they say these things about me? I'm just your son. All I do is tend the cows all day. I'm such a good boy. I work so hard. I'm engaged in service all day long. I work for so many long hours. And then these gopis come and tell lies on me. I don't know what they're saying. I don't know how this butter got here and here and here. They must have smeared it on me just to make me look guilty. But oh Maya, I didn't steal anything. I'm just your son. Don't believe them. My Guru Maharaj Radhanath Swami likes to say, this is the absolute truth. Who lies to his mother and says, oh Maya, I didn't steal anything. Oh Maya, I haven't eaten dirt. When really he did eat dirt. And everything is within his mouth. And so they say that Lord Sri Krishna, he takes a pause when Yashoda Maya catches him by the arm and says, why are you so restless? Have you eaten dirt? Even your brother Balaram has said this. And Balaram doesn't lie. He's your greatest well-wisher. Have you eaten dirt? It says that Krishna takes a pause. Some of our Vaishnav commentators give a reason for this particular pause. The pause is there because Krishna knows if he opens his mouth, she will see dirt in his mouth because it's filled with dirt. So he has to take a pause to try and swallow and clear his mouth of all the dirt that's within it before he can open his mouth and say, no Maya, I didn't steal anything. And he looks at so many different places. He looks left and right and up and down, all around except at his mother. Because he knows if he looks into his mother's eyes, she will know the truth. And she will know that he has eaten dirt. This is our absolute truth. The one who puts aside all of his awe and reverence and opulence just to say, I am none other than your son. Just come. Let me sit on your lap. Feed me with your own hands. Every time Krishna would kill a demon, all of the residents of Vrindavan had so many mixed emotions. On one hand, they would congratulate him. Well done, Krishna. On the other hand, they would get angry at his cowherd boyfriends. Why would you let Kanha do this? Why would you let him go and kill so many demons? You were there. You should have protected him. And then again, on another hand, they say, oh Krishna, maybe you should not. Maybe you shouldn't go out to the forest anymore. Stay home. Mother Yashoda devises so many tricks just to keep Krishna home. It says every day she dresses Krishna almost to her heart's content. And just as he turns to leave, she says, oh, Kana, wait. There's one more bracelet. And he has to come back. And she places the bracelet on him, and then she surveys her work. And then Krishna turns to leave again. Oh, wait, Lala, come back. Just one more arm jewel. And she places the armlet around his chubby, sweet arms. And then she surveys her handiwork. And when Krishna turns to leave again, wait. Just come back one more time. Just one more jewel in your hair. One more feather, one more berry, one more strand of pearls. Finally, Krishna says, Maya, I have to go. My friends are all waiting. Everyone is waiting. They will call me the most useless son of Nanda Maharaj. This is our family business. I have to go. And finally, Mother Yashoda has to let Krishna go to the forest. And all of the gopis, they wait and they watch Krishna go to the forest, their eyes following him until they cannot see him any longer. Then they all run to their moon towers and their watchtowers, and they pretend to work, but really, they're just waiting for any sign of Krishna to return. This is our Krishna. Pastimes that have never been seen before. Krishna pretends to learn how to walk, holding the fingers of his very own father. And sometimes he takes a step and he falls. And then he cries. And then he rubs his eyes. And then he gets up again with the help of his father and he takes another step. And all of the gopis clap and they say, well done, well done. They all gather around and they say, oh Krishna, if you dance, we will give you a laddu. Will you dance for us? And Krishna, even as a baby, does many charming dance moves. And he moves his body and wiggles in so many charming and hilarious ways. And all the gopis laugh. And they ask him just one more dance. And in this way, they delay giving him his laddus as payment. This is our Krishna. Never before have we had the good fortune to see this aspect of God. One of our spiritual teachers describes it as God with his guard down. All of the things which put us at a distance from God, Sri Krishna lifts all of those things and takes them away. He says, now I am here. Just think of me. Meditate upon me. Fix your mind and your heart on me. Love me. Devote yourself to me. That is all. That is the essence of religion. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender your heart to me. I will protect you. I will take care of you. I will love you. I will give you everything you've ever desired. Do not fear. Shri Krishna Chandra Bhagavan ki jai. Shri Janmastami Ma Mahotsava ki jai. Thank you all for being with me. I'm wishing you all a wonderful and joyous Janmashtami. I hope that it is filled with the bliss of the pastimes of Sri Krishna and the benediction of pure loving devotional service. Hare Krishna. Thank you all. I'll see you again soon.